Hello. So I'm just at the gym, just about getting ready to go in and train some legs. And I got to thinking about a question I get a lot. A lot of people are like, what's the best split? What's the best way to break things down? And there's a lot of factors to consider when you're going to set up your training split. So that's like just how many days you're training per week, what body part you're training, and all that. So currently my split is set up for my goals, and I'm also very fortunate in that my schedule is very flexible, so I can kind of shift things around or change things and can fit my training in where I need to. So that allows me to set up a training split that really isn't restricted to my work schedule necessarily. So right now I'm on an 8-day split, so each week will actually, my leg day will fall on a different day. But there is like 2 rest days a week typically, and then 2 upper body days. So, we'll train glutes, then it might be shoulders and triceps, and then glutes and quads, and then a rest day, and then we'll hit glutes again, then we'll have back and biceps, and then we'll have glutes and hamstrings, and then another rest day. So that's where my split is currently scheduled. So this is with the focus to grow that glute density and grow bigger glutes so that I'm more competitive at the pro level. So that is my current goal. My upper body doesn't need to grow as much as my glutes, so that's why the frequency there is a little bit lower. Because you can't hammer every body part. It really works better if you kind of have a focus and work on that for a little bit, and then if you have another thing you kind of want to bring up, then maybe you change that focus in the next split. So the other thing that I see is that people don't stay on the same split long enough to see results. So I mean, minimum of like 6 weeks, right? Like you should stay to that split. Each time you kind of run back through the beginning of that split, you should be hitting the same exercises. Because if you're changing the exercises all the time, then you're not going to see the results you want, right? And that's really hard to track progress and track that progression to make sure that you're actually getting stronger and you just have a better comparison. So moving on to some splits that are more realistic for people who have like really set work hours. So that maybe they need certain days of the week that are consistently their rest days instead of rotating. 5 days is usually a great split, like 4 to 5. I think that once you start getting to 6 or 7, there's just not quite enough recovery. And even some people get great results with 3 days a week of lifting, and that might fit better with their goals. Now, if you're doing 3 days a week, I typically recommend that you're doing more of a full body. This is just better because you're hitting all those muscle groups at a higher frequency that you maybe wouldn't if you were like just doing like legs one day and then back and biceps and then shoulders on the next day. So that's what I would recommend if you were doing a 3-day. A 4-day is a little bit better if you're doing like an upper lower split, so that you're not hitting the same muscle groups back to back on certain days. And then a 5-day, just kind of depending on how well you're recovering, time, and your intensity. So there's lots of different ways you can set up a split. Now, in terms of what muscle group you're hitting, I would say it depends on goals. If you're just starting out, it can be really great to hit everything a little bit more evenly and have a really good balance so that you get a good base to kind of move forward, and then see what muscle groups kind of lag behind, what ones don't respond quite as well, and then work to kind of isolate those, or maybe even, figure out if your mind-muscle connection is there for that muscle. So yeah, there's lots of ways to split it up, and it really just comes down to goals, time, your schedule, and what you enjoy doing the best, right? Like if you really enjoy lifting, saying that you're going to lift 3 days a week probably isn't going to fire you up, right? Or the opposite. Like if lifting's not really your thing, but it's important and you want to, make sure to incorporate it into your activity levels, then if someone tells you to lift 5 days a week, you're gonna really not look forward to doing that. So it takes looking at yourself honestly and looking at your goals, and then kind of structuring it to best fit you and your lifestyle and where you want to be. So just something I thought I'd share with you guys before I head in to train legs again. So hope you have a great day. We'll talk to you soon. So I'm just going to share some clips from my workout. This whole workout was actually one that I've recorded before. So as I go through it again, I'm just working on progressing each movement, increasing weight or increasing reps or the time under tension. So these are all movements you've seen before. I'm just trying to improve on them and progressive overload here with the same ones. So that's, like I mentioned before, you don't want to change your workouts every single time you go into the gym. Otherwise, it's really hard to track progress and know that you are moving all your lifts in the right direction. And sometimes it's not, more weight, sometimes it's more reps. And so it's just good to make sure you're progressing your movements. So here I'm going to show you a little tip for setting up your RDL stance. So you actually want to start with your feet together and then turn your toes apart and then bring your heels out to be directly behind your toes. So after I do a few reps here, I'm going to actually show you guys a video from the top so that you can see my feet and how they're directly together. And then you just move those toes out and then heels to follow. So this is how you should be doing your RDL stance. All right, just getting back in the car, done with my workout. So I hope that RDL tip was helpful. And I just wanted to thank you guys for following along and listening. I know that some of these posts, they're all fitness and health related, but they're kind of random. And I just appreciate everyone who watches them and gives me feedback. So if you know of something you are curious about or want to see in the next video, make sure to drop it below, subscribe, and share to anyone you think might enjoy. Thanks.